לקראתנה, בני שבת נקבלה, נקבלה. שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום ומבורך. שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום ומבורך. דודי לי אני לא הרואה בשושנים. דודי לי, דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים. דודי לי, מי זאת עולה, מן המדבר, מי זאת עולה מן המדבר. דודי לי, דודי לי, ואני לא הרואה בשושנים. דודי לי, מקוטרת מור, מור ולבונה, מור ולבונה. דודי לי, דודי לי, דודי לי, ואני לא הרואה בשושנים. דודי לי. Shabbat Shalom and
Shabbat
welcome.
Shalom.
We're coming to you from our beautiful sanctuary. As always, there are links to our Siddur in the Facebook event for this service, and you can also find the link for the prayer book pages PDF for this service in the comments. Important information will appear in the comments during the service, and for that we thank Dave Zucker, Riley Hendricksey, and Aviva Simons. Thank you, all three of you. Please say hi if you are watching by typing Shabbat Shalom in the comments line. Don't forget to click return. Just a reminder about the page numbers. We are using the pages in the square brackets. Go ahead and find Shabbat Evening Service, Roman numeral 1 in your Mishkan Tefillah, or it will be the second page of your prayer book pages on the PDF for this service. The page numbers are at the bottom corner of the images. If you are following the service on the PDF, we will be using all pages. For immediate technical help, please text CBT's Tech Hotline at 913-303-1134. If you have any feedback you would like to give us about this service, we suggest that you take notes and you send us an email next week with your comments. We thank you in advance. And have a Shabbat Shalom and welcome. As we begin our time together, if you are lighting candles at home, please go ahead, light the candles, and we will recite the blessings together in just a moment.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kirshanu shel Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom. We continue together on page 130 as we sing the opening words of the Kabbalat Shabbat. Those are the opening words of Psalm 95, Lechu Nera Nena. On page 138, we will continue with Lechadodi and singing stanzas 1, 2, 5, and 9. La 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 lechadoti likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela lecha lechadoti likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela
Likrat Shabbat v'heilnu v'lecha ki mechor ha'baracha mirush mikirim nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshavat ki la 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 la
Lechadoti likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela lecha lechadoti likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela Hitoreni Kumi ori Shir daveri La 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 lechadoti likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela lechadoti likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela
Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala Gam b'simcha u'tzola Toch emunei am segula Boi chala
lechadoti likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela lechadoti likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela la 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 lechadoti likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela lechadoti likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. On page 147, we prepare for the recitation of the Shema, which will be found on page 152. So we join together first on a blessing before we recite the Shema together. There is one who sings the song of his own life, finding everything within himself. There is one who leaves the circle of herself and sings the song of her people. There is one whose voice rings with the song of humanity, hoping for the highest perfection. And there is one who rises even higher, uniting with all creatures, with all worlds, filling the universe with song. Nevarech, let us bless.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Amen. We continue together with Mi Chamocha on page 158. On page 160, we join together as we offer the words of the prayer Ashkivenu. God grant us to lie down in peace and rise up to life renewed. this moment, we use this time to pray on our own the Amidah, the silent prayer, beginning on page 164 through page 180. I will pray the traditional prayers, and at home you may choose to use our traditional words on the Siddur. You can also offer a prayer from your own heart, or take this time for a private, personal meditation on the beautiful day Shabbat that we're sharing, bringing in together this evening.
Adonai Sefatai Tiftach Ufi Yagi Tehilatecha Adonai Sefatai Tiftach Ufi Yagi Tehilatecha. Ihiyu leratzon imrefi Ve'yon libi lefanecha Ihiyu leratzon imrefi Ve'yon libi lefanecha Adonai turi, Adonai turi, Adonai turi ve'goali Adonai turi, Adonai turi, Adonai turi ve'goali Ihiyu leratzon imrefi ve'yon libi lefanecha Ihiyu leratzon imrefi ve'yon libi lefanecha Adonai turi, Adonai turi, Adonai turi ve'goali Adonai turi, Adonai turi, Adonai turi ve'goali.
We now offer a prayer for those in need of healing. You may access the Misha Berach list through the e-news that you received this morning. You can also follow the link in the comments. If you would like to offer names, please type them in the comments so that we can all see them. Please go ahead and type the names. we offer prayers for those in need of healing. We also think of those who help in healing, first responders and health workers all over the world during this pandemic. May the one who blessed and led our forebears give countenance unto those who provide help for the ill and troubled among us. May they be filled with fortitude and courage, endowed with sympathy and compassion. As they give strength to those at their side, may they fight against despair and continue to find within themselves the will to reach out to those in need. And in their love of others, may they feel the blessings of community and the blessing of renewed faith. It is now time for our Simcha moment. Please, if you are so moved to share a special Simcha, a joy from this past week that may include your birthday, anniversary, good news, and accomplishments of all and any kind, please, in a few words, type them on the comments and click enter. So again, your Simchas for this week. This week's Torah portion is a double Torah portion, matot, masei, and the word matot means heads of the different tribes, and masei means travels, because the book of Numbers ends this way with a recapitulation of every single place where the Israelites, the Jews, stopped on their way out of Egypt, from Ramses all the way to where they are now at Mount Nebo. So it is really all about the journey from Egypt to the land of Israel. So Ruth Bryn wrote a few poems because it's a double Torah portion. So the poem for this week is for Maaseh, which is based on Numbers chapter 33. Comes from her book Harvest, and is titled To the Jordan River. There were generations of Jews who prayed to return to the land. There were generations of us who longed for Jerusalem, who suffered and wept when we remembered her. There were generations who struggled for Zion, who contended with fellow Jews and with the rulers of many nations. To us has come the age that others longed for, the age they prayed for, suffered for, and worked for. To us, who are neither deserving enough, nor grateful enough, nor understanding enough, has come this age for greatness, the age to rebuild Zion. We have gone up to the land to cultivate it, to build cities and harbors, villages and schools, a life of goodness and abundance for our people. We build terraces for vineyards, dragging the rough rock with our bare hands, and where the mountainsides were too steep for vine or olive, we planted Jerusalem pine that sends its roots deep into the rocky hills. Day by day and step by step, we labored, rejoicing when we saw the scarlet poppies growing wild in the hillsides, the land answering us, cheering us on. O God, who watched over every generation that struggled towards this age, make us strong to build the terraces of peace, stone on stone. Root us like Jerusalem pine in the traditions of Israel. Then let joy spring from our spirits and red poppies from the holy hills as we work to rebuild Zion.
It's lovely.
We now gather all the simchas that you have shared with us and offer a prayer. Divine source of blessings, we thank you for everything that enriches our lives. We turn to you now with gratitude as we share in the happiness of those who have marked their birthday, anniversaries, good news, and accomplishments. Adonai, be with them now and always. May they be blessed with health and happiness, and with the strength to overcome sickness and sorrow, as we honor each one of you for the gifts that you bring to our sacred community. We join together in song as we mark this sacred occasion. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehecheyanu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehecheyanu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. As I mentioned just a minute ago, we're really approaching the very end of the book of Numbers, and we really get into the end of the narrative of the entire Torah, to be honest. Nothing really happens in the book of Deuteronomy. I mean, well, Moses dies. But the narrative kind of stops, and the book of Deuteronomy, Dvarim, is a whole book that happens basically in a couple of days. But now we come to the end of the entire story that the Torah tells from the very beginning of creation until the moment that they almost reach the land of Israel. There's not a lot happening, so the beginning of the Torah portion, Matot, switches to regulations emphasizing the seriousness of oaths and vows. So Moses spoke to the heads of the Israelite tribes, the Matot, saying, Ishki idor neder. So someone who makes a neder, a vow to Adonai, or takes an oath, imposing an obligation on himself, he shall not break his pledge. He must carry out all that has crossed his lips. So right from the start, you can see there's no way around it. If you, according to the book of Numbers and the Torah, this is the only reference in the Torah, if you make a vow of any kind or an oath, and say, by God, I will do this and that, there's no way around for you. There's no sacrifices. There's nothing you can do about it. And if you don't do it, well, there's a list here. We'll read those things tomorrow morning. Nothing good will come out of it. You can guess that, right? So exactly what is this neder, this vow? In the 11th century, the great commentator Rashi explains that is someone who says something like this: Behold, I take upon myself an obligation which is sacred to me as an offering, like a sacrifice, that I will not eat or that I will not do such and such a thing. Okay? So the question that Rashi has, and many of us have too, is can someone take a vow to do something that is contrary to the commandments found in the Torah?
Wow.
Now, following the Midrash, Rashi explains, if he takes an oath to forbid something to himself, that is, to forbid for himself something which is permissible to him, and not make permissible that which is forbidden to him. So you can make a vow to not do something that you can do,
Okay.
but you cannot make a vow to do something that you're not supposed to be doing. So I think it's pretty clear, right? So no naughty vows, no criminal vows, nothing like that, no vendettas, nothing that's not part of a vow according to the Torah. You know, really, vows are taken very, very seriously by our tradition. The biblical laws of vowing are to be found at the beginning of this week's Torah portion. And there's actually a whole tractate of the Talmud called Nedarim, which is a plural of neder, dedicated specifically to vows. The Torah, as we just saw, does not explain how one can get out of a vow. Presumably, we cannot. You may know by now that you might have maybe heard something that helps you make a connection. The holiest night of the Jewish calendar is dedicated exactly to this matter. It begins with the words Kol Nidrei, meaning all the vows,
Oh, yes.
as a way out of it, and as a way of annulling our vows. I think that now you all agree that vowing and the vows are central to our relationship with God, and they are really center of the high holidays that were coming up in just about 7-8 weeks.
So short.
Some of you may be familiar with other types of vows, maybe in the Christian traditions. There are actually even a special type of candle, in English it's called a votive candle, that is used by some to make a vow. And it is, I think, rather common in Catholic churches in Europe to see people lighting a votive candle and making a vow that says something like, I will not cut my hair until so-and-so heals, and then when I cut my hair, we'll donate it to charity or something like that. There are many variations. So, does Judaism encourage us to make vows? The answer is yes and no. So yes, because it is in the Torah. The Torah says if you make a vow, so it has a provision for us to make a vow. But the answer is also no, mostly according to what rabbis teach in the Talmud. One sage in particular, Shmuel, goes as far as to say, quote, even when one fulfills his vow, his neder, he is called wicked, rasha. While Rabbi Dimi calls him a sinner, someone who is a chote, someone who did a chet. I think they are exaggerating a little bit.
You say you're going to explain that,
But
right?
the point they want to make is that we should not make vows, that basically we should not take words lightly. One can argue that vowing has practically disappeared from Jewish practice. However, one can also argue that vowing is just part of human desire. Our desire to control the future by using speech, by using words. And that, my friends, I think has not disappeared at all. In the world that we live in, the power of words is evident on Twitter, for instance. Apparently, you can run, quote unquote, a whole country through Twitter. Written words have become even more powerful than we ever imagined. In the digital age, we thought that reading was on its way out. Well, maybe reading books might be, but written words are still very powerful. And some presidents have realized how powerful words can be, and they use it to hurt, to denigrate, and frankly, to divide us. Speech is powerful, and Judaism is right in teaching that we must be careful with our words at all times. It's almost trying to scare us when it says, if you make a vow, you have no way out. You have to do what you say. thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't make a vow, right?
Yeah.
I'm getting ahead of myself. Our tradition is perhaps the first to teach the world about the power of human speech, a unique gift of human beings which we share with no other creature. It is in our ability to speak that we are made in the image of God. God spoke at the beginning, let there be light, and there was light. Therefore, that is the creative act per excellence. Our tradition also realized that where there is power, there is a risk to misuse it. Words can easily be misused. Vows can easily take us on the wrong path, on a path of unattainable goals. Think for a moment about vowing to follow this or that diet, hoping to lose weight or get healthy. Have you ever overpromised in that department? I know I have. Have you ever thought you would vow to lose weight beyond what it is physically possible? Because it's just the words. You can say it, right? Then you have to do anything about it. Well, you say it and then you have to do it, which is much difficult,
Yes.
more difficult.
Yes.
I know I have done also too. I guess we all have done that at one point. It is good to have goals, but they have to be reasonable goals. They have to be goals who set us up for success, not for failure. When we take a vow, we tamper with the power of words, and more often than not, we fail. As we find ourselves, in the middle of a relentless pandemic, we may be tempted to take vows of all sorts of things that we know we will do in the future if there wasn't a pandemic, hoping that we can influence the future. And some vows may help. If we vow to wear a mask every time we are in public or to wash our hands for 20 seconds, X number of times a day, we may make a positive impact on the outcome of the pandemic. But by now, I think you get the idea that vows are not a good strategy by which to guide our lives. We cannot vow our way out of this or that problem. Actions and not words are what count. Not simply vowing to take care of the well-being of others, but acting for the good of society is what counts. Not simply vowing to take time to work for social justice, but doing the work is what counts. Not merely vowing to attend more services or study more Torah, but actually doing it is what counts. No vows or words, but our compassionate and caring actions are what will ultimately make a difference in our lives today, as always. Have a Shabbat Shalom, everybody. As we prepare for our moment of remembrance, I invite you to turn to page 595. We share some words. It's meditation number 7. יש כוכבים שאורם מגיע ארצה, רק כאשר הם עצמם עבדו ואינם. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we leave our days, these are the ways that we remember. And on this Shabbat, we remember that 26 years ago yesterday, there was a terrible terrorist attack in Buenos Aires at the Jewish Community Center where hundreds of people died, and some people that I knew through other people who were there, some survived, some perished. It was the 16th of July, 1994. So we remember all those who died at that, we call it the AMIA, which means like the Jewish Community Center. We are remembering those who died in this past week. We are observing Shiva for Irma Schneiderson, stepmother of Mark Schneiderson, and the Shloshim for Susan Grebner-Wary, sister and sister-in-law of Barbara and Mike Ginsberg, Brenda Safer, sister and sister-in-law of Judy and Marshall Weingarten, and Judith Phyllis Fremerman, aunt of Paula Fremerman, and Radine Shaw, mother and mother-in-law of Roseanne and Randy Deitch. And on this Shabbat, we remember the following yortzites of members of our congregation: Evelyn Beckerman, Ronald Baer, Blake Ephraim, Harvey A. Flux, Dorothy Fogel, Walter Frank, Ronald Freed, Mary Bell Gettle, Rosa Lee Lazarus, Bruce Meyer, Estelle Parnez, Frank Schaffran, Linda Sobol, Gabe Spector, Marian Stock, Arnold Warshawski, Anita Waxman, Michael Bernard Waxman, Lillian Willis. If you're joining us on this Shabbat and are remembering a loved one, we invite you to add their names now on the comments line. Zichronam livracha, may the memories be for a blessing. We continue on page 598 with Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal ve'yitkadash shemei rabba, be'alma divra chirute ve'amlich malchute, b'chayechon u'b'yamechon u'b'chayei dechol beit Israel, ba'agala u'b'zman karev v'imru amen. Yehe shemei rabba mevarach lelam u'lelemei alemaya, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה דוש בחתה ונחמתה דא אמירם בלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. We have a few announcements before we part. We would like to thank everybody who's joined us from our area and from around the country. We thank especially Leslie Zucker and Joel Krishever here behind me for the lovely music. And thanks to Dave Zucker, Riley Henrikse, and Aviva Simons for managing our comments. We will be back here at 10:30 a.m. for our morning service on Facebook Live. Just a reminder that our building is closed to the public and that our entire staff can be reached by email or via Facebook Messenger. We are here for you. If you would like to join us for Torah study, our Sichat Shabbat will begin tomorrow at 9 a.m. on Zoom. See the event on Facebook. Very important, in just 15 minutes, we will gather on a Zoom, for our second virtual oneg. You can find the clickable Zoom link in the e-news that was sent to you this morning. And we haven't sent this in a while, but if you don't get our e-news, you may want to, because there's going to be more and more information coming that way. It's for us a safe way to get the Zoom information out so we know who we're sending to when it's just putting it out there for the world to see. We are providing meals for homebound members of Calvary Temple Baptist Church. We have a very, very immediate need. We need one more person to provide and or deliver a meal this Sunday. Please sign up using the Sign Up Genius link posted in the comments, or see Aviva Simons or Rabbi Kleiman for more details. If you can't help this Sunday, but it's still interesting, of course, you can always email Aviva at connect@beth-torah.org for more information. Next Friday, very important, July the 24th, we are planning an outdoor, yes, you heard right, an outdoor Shabbat service and board installation. And the stress is on the word planning. Due to our new in-person policies, which are detailed in an email that you will receive on Sunday morning, you must RSVP to attend, and there'll be details there. Again, you need to be getting our e-news to get the email, right? Because you're not going to be on that. You will find the link to do so on that Sunday email. So if you're thinking, oh, I'd like to come to a physically distanced, COVID-compliant, outdoor service at Beth Torah, you want to look at that tomorrow. It'll start on Sunday, but we'll have information throughout the week.
Right.
So, Leslie, anything else?
Oh, yes, we're also very excited. We're doing a hygiene item drive, like cleaning supplies and whatnot, for our sister congregation, Calvary Temple Baptist Church. And not only that, but we are going to the staff and the board will be sitting outside, and you can drop off your items. We'll do a contactless exchange where we just pull your things out of your car. We'll all have masks, but we can see each other's eyes and wave hello. And I think that's very exciting. See your e-news for more details. Song session on Wednesday, we're going to do songs for the kid in you, the kids at heart. If you have some of your favorite kids' songs, you can go into the event and suggest them there, and they might get done. We shall see. And then finally, next weekend, so that's a big weekend next weekend. On the 25th, we're going to do a Havdalah on Facebook Live, theoretically, hopefully, led by the youth. So that will be on Facebook Live. All you have to do is get on our Facebook page and see it. The time will be out next week. We've not set the time yet.
Thank you very much. Please make sure that you check us out on Facebook, and you like us and follow us, and you'll get notifications when we're going on live, when this live on, whatever say, It will say, Congregation Beth Torah is now live. And so you'll get that.
And you can click on that, and it'll take you right there.
Correct. That's another way of doing it.
I'm not smart enough to do, apparently.
So please do that, and you can, of course, always leave us some comments there after the service. Have a Shabbat Shalom, and stay healthy out there. Still, it's a beautiful day. It's a little cloudy where we are, so we'll see what happens tonight. We conclude our time together singing Adon Olam. Is on page 625.
And we're doing 1, 2, and the last one, however many numbers that is.
1, 2, and last. Adon Olam Hashem alach, b'terem kol yetzir nivra, le'et nasa v'chetzor kol, azay melech shemo nikra, ve'acharei chichlot hakol, levado yimloch nora, ve'hu haya ve'hu hoveh, ve'hu yeh b'tifara, ve'hu yeh b'tifara. Adon olam Hashem alach, b'terem kol yetzir nivra, le'et nasa v'chetzor kol, azay melech shemo nikra, בידו אף כדרוכי, ואת אישן בעירן, וכמרוכי גביעתי, אדוני לי ולא יירא, אדוני לי ולא יירא. אדון עולם השם הלך, בטרם כל יציר נברא, לעת נשא וחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. אזי מלך שמו נקרא, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Mwah. Take care of yourselves out there, and take care of each other.